for the cross. It's in the back of the net from Pizarro.
It's different. All of it's very different. But I think more than anything, we're all really excited to be able to compete against.
Nani takes it to the right foot, back to the left, Nani!
Hope we can use good football on this competition.
Oh, what a first contribution in brand new colours for Luis Robles.
And the moment the whistle blows, the competitive juices are going to flow. And this organization is looking forward to getting their first MLS win in history.
The wait is finally over. MLS is back, and it all kicks off tonight. Orlando City taking on Inter Miami at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Buckle up, people. It's going to be a wild, wild ride, and we cannot wait. What is up, everybody? Welcome on into MLS Today, presented by AT&T. I am Susanna Collins. So happy to be joined by my favorite guy, Kalen Carr. Kalen, 9 hours until kickoff. It has been 17 weeks, 122 days since we have seen an MLS game, 6,983 days. That's
Who's counting?
Over 19 years since two MLS teams from Florida have faced off against each other. The anticipation is just heavy in the air. I know that you have spent a lot of time talking to some of the players that are down there in the Orlando bubble. What is different about this tournament? What's the general sentiment going on right now?
I think everything. and from talking to guys and texting with them, I ask them what it's like, and honestly, or what it's going to be like when they re-enter the field. And most of them are not sure themselves. I think they're wondering,
Fair.
you know, what's it going to be like? Of course, for everybody, this is going to be new. No fans. Now, there may be some innovative ways to kind of bring that fan experience into the match. I'm eager to see what they do with the broadcast as well on ESPN tonight. But I think the guys are sort of like trying to figure this all out. But I think once the whistle blows, they're going to be eager to get out there. And I'll tell you what, like, even just from a lot of guys have compared it to a preseason type feeling or a second preseason even. And one thing is, when you're only playing inter-squad scrimmages, those get boring after a while. And
Yeah.
you know, you want to get out there. And I think the first foul, when you get kicked by somebody else, you'll wake up and say, you know what, we're here. And
It's real.
And the competition part will come out of these guys tonight. And then, of course, you have the added intrigue of this being two teams, as you mentioned, in the state of Florida, which has a history with MLS, but now coming back in a big way. So I think for Orlando and Miami, sort of a strange beginning of this. I don't even know if there's a name for the rivalry yet. I think I've heard Copa del Sol being floated about, but I think this will be one that people will remember.
That's catchy. Yeah, it feels like it has been absolute ages since the actual announcement of this tournament, and then to get to this point today where it's finally kicking off. We are actually going to see soccer. We are actually going to have games to talk about. It feels pretty surreal. I'm so excited. What are you going to do? How are you going to watch the game? What's your setup like?
I am, well, you know, I'm practicing my social distancing, of course, so
Yes,
I am
as you
going to
should.
be on my couch, and yeah, kind of like I've been for a while. It won't change much for me. I've got the routine down. It's just now the difference is what I'm watching. I'll get a chance to see MLS.
Yeah, same.
What about you?
I'll be enjoying all the action from my couch. Not quite ready to venture out into the public forum yet, so
Yeah.
we'll be taking it in from home. But it's going to be great.
Hey,
Cannot
maybe
wait.
we'll get you and me. We can FaceTime or something.
We should absolutely do that. Guys, you have so much to look forward to. 16 straight days filled with soccer. Later on in the show, we are going to catch up with Orlando City head coach Oscar Pareja. He gives us some insight as to what his team is feeling right now, so you don't want to miss that. But guys, we want you to get involved. This is your chance. Soccer is back, and this is your chance to really get your voices out there. Fans who incorporate the hashtags MLS is back, or also just hashtag MLS on Twitter or Facebook. You could see your tweets and messages appear up on the big screens at ESPN Wide World of Sports, and also could make an appearance on the broadcast. So that is going to start tonight. You can also use that hashtag Orlando versus Miami. And just get involved. Guys, it's back. It's back. You should all be excited. let's get to some updates from Orlando and life in the bubble. Let's see what is going on. This news came out yesterday. The game Nashville versus Chicago has been postponed. That is, of course, due to Nashville. Some of their players have tested positive for COVID. Toronto versus DC United. That game has been moved to July 12th. Also, some news out of FC Cincinnati. Jurgen Locadia out for a couple weeks, so not quite sure what that means for FC Cincinnati at this point, but hopefully we will see him at some point. And then also, this is really tremendous news and big news. The Black Players for Change, they partnered with the Players Coalition. They put out an absolutely incredibly powerful video message yesterday that states their mission. Let's take a look at it.
We have come together
from Silver Spring, Maryland,
Cleveland, Ohio,
Manassas, Virginia, and the United States
to end systemic racism inside and outside of our league.
We have come together from Kalamazoo, Michigan,
Stone Mountain, Georgia,
Atlanta, Georgia,
to lift up our black communities across genders.
We have come together from London, England,
to San Jose, Costa Rica,
Bethesda, Maryland, to speak as one.
We are black in Major League Soccer.
We are strong. We are proud.
We will not be silent.
To the microaggressions, the police brutality,
the systemic racism and violence
that exists in our world today.
The time is now, and we need your help.
We cannot do this alone.
Will you speak up? Will you learn? Will you vote?
Will you lead?
Will you stand with us?
Tú estás con nosotros.
Êtes-vous avec nous?
Together,
there will be change.
Just so incredibly powerful. Kaylin, I know that you have been privy to some of the conversations that these players have had in getting this thing off the ground, getting it organized. What have those looked like?
Yeah, sure. I mean, a lot of these guys are former teammates and friends. You know, Sean Johnson or Jaleel Anibaba I played with in Chicago, or Warren Craval. Become friends with Jeremy Abobasi, some of these guys, and you talk to them throughout, and look, these are conversations that have been happening for a long time in MLS, in locker rooms all across the league and outside. But it's a really powerful statement to see them step out and to organize the way that they have. I believe this started with just some like Instagram DMs amongst each other, and I saw CJ Sapong tweeting about that last night. And then to see it go from those conversations to actual an organization. And, we know that systemic racism and discrimination doesn't change if you don't look at the systems, right? These aren't just individual issues here. So for them to create a platform and a voice, not just for themselves, but, this legacy will last much longer than any of the players do in Major League Soccer. And I think because of what these guys have done, they will assure black players in MLS will have a seat at the table to be listened to for a long time to come. So really proud of these guys. I think as they mentioned in the video, they asked, will you stand up? Will you vote? Will you listen? Will you put this into action as well? So I think a call to the whole MLS community here that are watching today and will be watching throughout the tournament to listen to them, follow their lead, and rise up to support.
Awesome stuff. You love to see it. I cannot wait to see what happens when they take the field and what that will look like. And we'll find out, guys, because soccer is starting back up tonight, and we have a jam-packed week for you. So let's give you a little taste of what's to come. Starting off, Orlando City against Inter Miami, 8 p.m. on ESPN. Orlando looking to get their first win in their last 10 matches dating back to last year. But for Miami, the new guy, Rodolfo Pizarro, has a lone goal for them. We'll see what he can do.
Suze, get your coffee ready tomorrow morning for this one on ESPN. 9 a.m. kickoff. This one is I think could actually decide who leads Group A at the top at the end of this. So a good one to watch.
Ooh, we shall see. Oh, Montreal versus New England. These two teams actually played early on in the season, and Thierry Henry got the win against Bruce Arena. Worth noting, though, Carlos Gil did not play in that one, so we'll see what kind of impact he can have for the Revs in this tournament.
Yep. And Group B kicks off with the defending MLS Cup champs. Yes, the Seattle Sounders Jordan Morris, could he get the golden boot? Rui Diaz, they might be competing for it themselves. And then Matias Almeida, I don't think the hair is still that
He's
long.
bald now.
I know. It's going to be hard to recognize him, but the Quakes, the depth, I think might give them a chance to advance.
Oh, this is such a good one. This is the first big Fox game of the tournament. Atlanta versus Red Bulls at 8 p.m. on Saturday. Atlanta had a hot start thanks to Pitti and Barco, the only Eastern Conference team to collect all 6 points early on. But Daniel Royer has destroyed Atlanta. He has 4 goals and an assist in 6 matches against them.
Suze, hell is real. And it might be extra real in the heat in Orlando. Jaap Stam will make his debut. And then right here, Zella Rayan. He looked so good early for Columbus Crew. This is one of the intriguing matches, the rivalry match within the group for Cincinnati.
Oh, this another tasty one, Kaylin. Toronto FC against DC. This game was pushed back 3 days after Toronto arrived in market late. It's a rematch of last year's round 1 epic playoff match that saw Toronto score 4 goals in extra time. What?
I think they call this one the nicest rivalry in MLS, and they got a pretty nice striker here. A nice signing here. Alan Pulido started off with 2 goals in 2 matches. Minnesota will be without Iko Para for the at least the group stage. They're hoping to get him back as they if they advance.
And how about a little Rocky Mountain Cup action for Group D and for Colorado? Set pieces, and mostly for that guy, Kai Kamara, who scores a whole lot of goals. RSL, though, they have 7 clean sheets since Freddie Juarez took over late last season.
That's a good recipe for success, but you know who won't be scoring goals in this tournament? Carlos Vela, because he's not here. So Rossi's going to have to step up in his absence. I think, they've got tons of weapons around him, but Rossi will be the one to watch. And don't count out my Houston Dynamo. We talked about the Heat. Well, we know these guys can handle it. Manotas, Elise, Memo Rodriguez. I'm going to be pulling for my Dynamo.
I knew you were going to give Houston some love there. Guys, we rounded out LA Galaxy against Portland. Chicharito still looking for his first MLS goal. We'll see what he can do. Diego Valeri, he was gelling early. 2 goals on the year for Portland. Also, Kaylin, we get to find out what hairstyle he is rocking, because I just still I don't know how I feel about this man bun situation. We'll see what that looks like.
Hey, post-quarantine, we might have some interesting looks across the league.
Who knows? But just a reminder, guys, it kicks off tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Orlando City taking on Inter Miami. Time now for our AT&T call to the field, and for that we bring in head coach of Orlando City, Oscar Pareja. Oscar, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. This has been such a crazy time. You and your club have been in the middle of all of this. You are sort of the unofficial hosts of the MLS Is Back tournament. You were one of the first clubs to arrive in the bubble, and now Florida is a hotspot for COVID-19. So, Oscar, how have you been able to keep your team focused on the task at hand during this stretch?
Well, hello to everyone. And indeed, it has been a difficult situation for all. The players have done a terrific job on trying to keep their minds on the game, despite of the difficulties that we have during this time. And then now assuming the responsibility for bring joy to this tired society and community that are listening to the news all the time and seeing this moment of crisis everywhere. But we bring in the joy of the game and the competition, and we feel proud. And probably that's the thing that has been talking the most all the time. Is a big opportunity for us to provide that, and hopefully we can do it.
Well, after 3.5 months being away from game action, you and your team are now just hours away from taking the field for the first time. Can you describe some of the feelings that you're experiencing heading into this match?
Right. Yeah, it has been long, different periods. First, very unknown, all of them. Second, trying to reinvent us all the time as a coaches and provide to the players what they need in the scenarios that we did not know, dealing with the uncertainty too. but it's just deciding every day to compete, and that's what the league is providing us now. And I know it takes a lot of courage to have the tournament here, and I really congratulate the people who has been involved on providing this opportunity to the community, and we feel responsible too to be part of that solution, or at least just providing better news and entertainment for the people who had stayed in their homes. And we all hoping that this can help, and in the long term it can stop, and we can move on to the normality.
Yeah, very well said. And, speaking of entertainment, it all kicks off against your Florida rival, Miami. And you guys are the first teams. You are kicking off this tournament, this MLS Is Back tournament. What was your reaction when you found out that you were going to be one of the first teams playing? Were you happy about being the first to kind of start this whole thing?
Right. There's many things in life that you don't control. And then we were not on plans to play the second game or third or the first. We just wanted to be part of the competition again, and knowing that we were the first one game and against our rival, it's exciting. I think it's a great opportunity for us to showcase our club and the players and the people is going to be expecting to watch us, and that's fun.
Well, you mentioned your Florida rivals, Miami. This is obviously a very new rivalry, but one that I know is catching full steam, especially in Florida. For you guys as a team, how important is it for you to make your mark in what will be this first match of the Florida rivalry between Orlando and Miami?
Right, yeah, I know it's a big match, and indeed it's the first one, and not just in the open tournament here, but first one in our rivalry, and I know the fans are excited. We all are, and so we're pleased to be in this spot.
These are unprecedented times, and we keep saying that, and I know that's a phrase that keeps getting repeated, but there was no blueprint for how to coach a team through a pandemic, Oscar, and this is your first year as head coach with Orlando. In what ways were you able to find ways to connect with the guys and bring everybody together leading up to this point, despite everything that we've been going through and all the social distancing measures and not being able to train every day?
Right. The first part was trying to follow the protocols and tied into the plans that the doctors and the medical department laid out for us. Second, to create a level of auto responsibility for the players. It's not even the group responsibility, but they needed to be the ones who many days needed to take care of their bodies and their training and be away from the people and all those things. The most important part in the game is to play collectively, because that's the beauty of this game, and that was probably the thing that we did the less. We couldn't train as much as we wanted. So try to put their minds in the place and overcome all those challenges, make the players see the positive part and the opportunities that we all have as a society to learn from this. Love more the game, knowing that we have a job, that we have the opportunity to perform still, that we belong to an organization, understanding that they were healthy, that they will have the opportunity to keep running and playing soon. And all those things installing in their minds and keep them active all the time and positive was not an easy job, but the boys did a great job on that part.
Oscar, before we let you go, I just have one last question. We have seen some of the amenities that are available to the players within the bubble, and they're enjoying some pool time. They're maybe playing a little soccer pool and video games, all kinds of things. How have you, as a coach, what are you doing to occupy your time in any sort of downtime that you have? Have you been able to enjoy any of the activities that the players have?
I did. A few of those activities, I get involved with them. They were making fun of me, some players, because I brought my static bike and into my room, and so I bike at the room when I have time and read. But they keep me busy. There's not too much time on.
That I believe, and nothing wrong with bringing that static bike. You gotta whatever works for you, Oscar. Thank you so very much for your time. We wish you all the best in the tournament. We can't wait to see you guys out there, and please stay safe.
Bye. It's great to see you.
Big thanks to Oscar Pareja for taking the time to join us. This is his first year as head coach, and I mean, what a crazy time to enter in, right? You have to deal with a pandemic, and now this crazy tournament. Kaylin, knowing the struggles that Orlando have had in the past, what do you know about this team now with Oscar Pareja as the head coach? Who is this Orlando team right now?
Well, I think that's a question that is still to be answered, and I don't know if that's going to be answered completely in the scope of this tournament. And to be fair to Oscar Pareja, that's not what they brought him in just to do, right? Like he is here to set a culture. And the thing that stood out to me is he mentioned the word he used was collective, and collectively trying to find that, and trying to find ways to gel. This team has always had some really good attacking pieces. You go through the list of Nani, Chris Mueller, Dom Dwyer, but the problem is it's looked disconnected. At times it looks like they attack with 5 and then maybe defend with 5, and 5 might be generous in some of those cases. And so connecting the back to the front and making sure that those two things go between need to happen, and some of that just comes down to culture, because this team has won dramatic games late, they've lost up leads late in games, and that just speaks to maybe a lack of culture identity. And that's one thing we know about Oscar Pareja that he's so good at doing, is establishing a culture. I just think that might take some time still.
Yeah, and I think that's completely fair. We spoke with Evan Weston, who is the play-by-play broadcaster for Orlando City, and he had mentioned how impressed he was with the way Oscar was creating a community within this team. Also, he mentioned the improved defense that he has seen, and that has been a real issue for Orlando in the past. And so I think you're right. I think that there is still a lot of time, a lot to be figured out, but by all accounts, it seems to be going in the right direction, which is, very, very good news for Orlando City supporters, because it's been a rough go. Let's be honest. It's not been, all that
but
fun.
To that point, especially for teams like this, where you have Inter Miami, which is still also largely undefined as to who they are. Starting off a tournament in the first match is really important, and I think that adds in any tournament, whether you look at from the World Cup to the MLS Is Back tournament, whatever tournament it is, Open Cup, you want to get off to a good start, especially in ones that involve group play. So I think especially for teams that maybe are still in flux in some ways, getting off to a start, to a win would be fantastic momentum for these teams.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk a little bit about Miami. As you mentioned, we haven't seen much of them, only 2 games, but in those 2 games, I have to say, I was pretty darn impressed. Only 1 goal for them in their first 2 games of the season, but in their first match, I was at this game against LAFC, Supporters Shield winners, and they were arguably the stronger team in the first half, Kaylin, and it took a ridiculous Carlos Vela goal for LAFC to win that one. And then they had the game against DC that they lost 2-1, but I think that there are a lot of positives to be taken from those first 2 games for Miami.
Yeah, weren't able to maybe show in the points at the end of the day, but yeah, there were some positives in those first 2 games, and they were starting to maybe build off that. And then I think taking your foot off and having to go back home, and then now having to restart is going to be a big challenge for Diego Alonso and his team. He's shown some tactical flexibility to line up in different ways. He thought he was going to maybe take a more defensive approach when they go out to D.C. They actually leaned a little bit more on the front foot. He's shown that he can maybe throw a tactical wrinkle or two in there. I like the experience they have across the team. You know, when you're starting a new MLS team, we've seen, even when you look at Atlanta United, you saw how big were Parkhurst and Laurentiis, some of those guys. And they've got some good names, too, as far as Will Trapp, Lee Win, De La Garza, Roman Torres. They just signed Gonzalez Perez, who won't be here for this tournament, unfortunately for them. But more than anything, to me, it really does come down to Luis Robles. I think he may be one of the best pickups in league from last season to this one. Just played fantastic in that first match against LAFC. And when you look at entering an uncertain tournament with factors where you can't really comprehend, when you turn around as a center back or anyone on the team and you see Luis Robles behind you to bail you out at a time or two, which he'll have to do, that's a pretty good guy to see standing behind you.
Okay, so it sounds like you might be giving the edge to Miami in this one. Am I correct? If you had to
I think this one is totally up for grabs, but I think just going back to the idea of Robles and that security in the back, I'm going to give them the slight edge.
I think that Orlando needs this win more than Miami does. I think that getting that first win for Orlando would just put them in such a good spot. I think that Miami is better equipped to recover if they did lose. So I think the win here, the 3 points, is more important to Orlando. Having said that, I have no idea how this is going to play out. I'm so out of practice.
The good news is we don't have to wait long this time. So there we go.
I know. Oh, you guys, 8 p.m. tonight. It is crazy. Also, guys, it is about that time because MLS Predict 6, presented by BetMGM, is back. A free-to-play game by Major League Soccer. Correctly predict the outcomes of the 6 featured matches along with secondary predictions, and you can win $50,000. Just head on over to MLSPredict6.com and play for free. There's going to be 4 rounds of this. So, Kaylin, you're up. Who are you picking this week?
Well, if I look through the slate of games, I looked at Columbus over Cincinnati. I just think with no Locadia for the first couple weeks, a brand new manager, Jaap Stam, who just came to the country and really hasn't had hardly any time to prepare his team. And then you look on the other side, Columbus, the improvements they've made, adding Nagbe, Zella Rayan. I just think Caleb Porter's team was the most obvious pick for me, even though I think it will be tight just by it being a rivalry match. What about you?
Okay, so I'm looking at the Atlanta Red Bulls game because that's just such an awesome matchup, and I'm giving the edge to Atlanta in this one. I know the Red Bulls have kind of given them fits in the past, but I just look at the way that guys like Barco and Pitti started the season, and I feel like they're just going to pick up right where they left off. It's going to be a good match, though, but I think I give the edge to Atlanta in this
I like
one.
that.
That's my pick.
I like that.
Picking Atlanta. Okay, what about your secondary pick, Kaylin?
Okay, so secondary pick, I chose LA Galaxy to score the first goal in their match against Portland, and I chose Pavone to get it just because I've been paying attention.
Shout.
I have an Instagram. I saw him score that goal in preseason. I saw him start the season, and I think he may be the biggest breakout star in MLS this year. I mean, he's already kind of broken out already. I don't know how you can say that about a guy who's been to the World Cup with Argentina, but I think the league has yet to see the best of Pavone, and I think it starts early and often in this one. So, yeah.
That's a
Christian
really,
Pavone.
I like
Who you
that.
got
That's
for your secondary pick?
Really, really good shot. Also love that you were able to plug your Instagram within that. Well done. Good job, Kaylin Carr.
CA2.
Proud of you.
Look me up.
CA2. Okay, my secondary pick, I'm going to go with that SKC Minnesota game, and I think that the first goal is going to come between the 21st and the 30th minute from SKC, and I'm going to take it one step further, and I'm going to say it's Alan Pulido that finds the back of the net, because that guy has been, the way he started the season, I mean, he is finally that goal scorer that SKC needed, and I think he's going to come out flying. So I think he's going to be one of the breakaway stars of this tournament as well. So There
I like
it is.
I like that pick. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think when you look at, even abroad, how, how Miguel Almiron or, Christian has come out hot after these tournaments. So there are certain guys that I think will be able to pick up right where they left off, or even pick up their game from where they were before. So I think Alan Pulido could be one of those guys in this tournament.
I got a good feeling about it. Guys, make your picks. Head on over to MLSPredict6.com for your chance to win $50,000. All right, time now to talk a little Golden Boot. So last year, this is what 1, 2, and 3 looked like. Carlos Vela, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Josef Martinez. This is obviously, these guys are not going to be playing in this tournament. But, Kaylin, what that does is open the door for somebody new, some new blood to get in the mix for the 2019 Golden Boot presented by Audi. So, of the guys that we don't see there, who are some of the contenders for you? And we just talked about him.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be right near that list because part of it is just form. I think the system is set up around him to get goals. And then I always think of the X factor, which is penalty kicks. Who's going to take a pen? And I think Pulido will be standing on top of them. But this guy's not a bad pick either. I don't know.
No. Diego Rossi, especially with the absence of Vela, I think this is a real opportunity for him to be a goal scorer and find those setups. And this guy, Eber, who I feel like he was very underrated last year, Kaylin. He was so good for NYCFC.
Yeah, I think maybe not even talked about enough. I think that team just has so many weapons. That might be the only thing that takes away from them. They've got so many other guys that can score goals as well. And then Mr. Reliable, one of my old teammates since we were 18, 19. Kai, just ageless. The guy is, such an intelligent player, so dangerous in and around the box with both feet in the air, can score in a lot of ways. So I think whenever you start a list, you should always keep Kai.
Don't count out Kai.
Near the top.
Don't you dare count out Kai Kamara.
Set pieces, too. I forgot about that one.
Oh, exactly. I mean, that is their Colorado's bread and butter. So, okay, of the guys that we saw, there are plenty more who are capable of scoring a bunch of goals within this tournament. For you, Kaylin, who are some of those guys that could kind of, I don't want to say dark horses, but who could surprise people?
Well, I think Jordan Morris stands out to me as a guy that can score goals in a hurry. If he gets hot, we've seen him able to do it in bunches. And look, right now we may be at a point in the tournament where we don't necessarily have all of the best flow or rhythm in the attacking side of the game. But one thing that does generally work in that circumstance is speed. You can still get him behind, and he's always a threat to do that. So I think Jordan Morris, cutting in from the flank, as we've seen him do really for years now, he would be a name that stands out to me. What about you?
I think Alejandro Pozuelo for Toronto is a guy that we should be watching. I just think that he's just one of the best playmakers in the league, and I think that he is going to play a really big role for Toronto. I also have Toronto in like my little bracket challenge. I have them going very far in this tournament, and I think that Pozuelo is going to be a big part of that. That 1-2 punch of Josie and him up front. Stop it. It's going to be a whole lot of goals.
Can I add one more?
Sure.
Can I add one more? Gustavo Bo, I just think this guy is like
great call.
Yeah, he can score in a lot of different ways, in the box, from outside. Such a talented player, and he's going to have some good service now with Carlos Hill back, who wasn't around in the beginning of the year. And then you can't do a list about the Golden Boot presented by Audi and not include Wando. So we have to put another timeless former teammate of mine, Wando, in the mix. Look, one thing you don't forget during a layoff is how to score goals, and this guy does it better than anybody in the history of MLS. So I would love to see Wando put on like a Zizou tournament.
Wouldn't that be great? Just like vintage Wando. Oh God, I'm so here for it, guys.
He's still too young to do that. But.
Is he? Is he though? I don't even know how old he is. I don't want to know.
I don't know.
I don't want to know.
Don't look it up.
Forget it. Forget we even said it. Guys, it all kicks off tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. MLS is back. ESPN, Orlando City taking on Inter Miami. Get ready, guys. It's going to be so much fun. And don't forget, you can join us right back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. on MLSsoccer.com, MLS Facebook, and Twitter. Kaylin and I will set you up for the day and the week ahead. Thank you so very much for watching, everybody. Enjoy the soccer. I'm so glad I get to say that. Enjoy the soccer, people. We'll see you real soon.